Apparently, the Secret Service had identified as a character of suspicion this man, this shooter, because they saw a rangefinder on him as well as a backpack. And this all happened more than an hour before the shooting actually occurred. So they saw the guy and they identified this guy as suspicious. Now, more details coming from a source familiar here who was also in the meeting tells me that about 10 minutes before former President Trump went onto the stage, they had gone from looking at this guy as suspicious to now looking at him as a threat. That is coming from this briefing that the senators were in. They were told the Secret Service had called it in to a center that this guy they now identified as a threat about 10 minutes before President Trump walked on stage, and they still allowed him to walk onto that stage. I'm told the Secret Service agent in charge there was on the phone with local and state police about the threat while the shooting was taking place. That's huge.
Okay, so this is what I mentioned an hour ago. Fox News earlier today, late this afternoon, was saying, about 3, 4, 5 hours ago, somewhere in that range, was saying that 1 hour before they knew this guy was a person of suspicious character, a person of interest, with a range viewer, or whatever they call it, that you can see the distance. They saw him with a range viewer and they saw him with a backpack. At that point, he should have been immediately taken into custody. They let him go. And then, as she said, 10 minutes before he presented a threat. So how dare you not immediately tell the president to say, stay in the car, don't come out? There's a threat. Why did they let him come out? So why do you think the Secret Service allowed Trump's speech to go on? And do you think this was incompetence or a desire to let President Trump die? I don't like asking that question, but it has to be either insane incompetence or a willingness to want to see him get hit. I see no other option. What's the other option? They did a great job. Everything went as planned. I hate asking these questions, but we have to. It's that bad. You see a threat, you identify as a threat 10 minutes before, and you let him go on. What the hell is that? I'm sorry for my language. It's that bad. 800-288-WBAP is our number. 800-288-9227. Let's go first to Damon in Fort Lee. Damon, Fort Worth. I'm sorry, it says Fort Lee. What do you got? WBAP.
Hey, Chris, how are you?
Good. How are you, sir?
Hey, I'm doing well. Well, I'm new to your show, and, I think...
Well, I appreciate that.
Absolutely. I think what you said is very key. It's a hard question to ask,
right? But
it is definitely one that has to be asked. I don't know how, just based on the information that's come out, people would come up with it would be incompetence. Look, we're at a different time from when, Kennedy got assassinated or any other attempts or assassinations, because in today's world, we have things called technology, which means everybody has it on film. There's, again, getting reports from the news stations, that's one thing, but there's videos out there that have come out from people's personal device showing the individual on the roof and individuals pointing out
for 2 minutes before he shot.
Right. That's right. In their voice saying, on the roof, he's on the roof. He's on the roof. So how the local authorities or the protection, whoever, how they don't immediatally go to that building, or at least do something that was very simple to do in technology, which is on your radio, make a quick radio call and say, look, again, I wasn't aware whether Trump was already speaking or was in the vehicle, but yeah, why not make a quick call if he's in his vehicle and say, look, postpone it. We've got something that obviously an hour ago we heard about that is a definite
possible threat, but now it's a threat. Don't let him go up there.
Right. So
call it off.
I mean, that's a quick radio call. That's a quick radio call. Again, there's devices out there, and I hope that more devices come out where people were just there videoing like everyone does, and they start seeing this guy in different places and walking around and climbing up on the building. It's like how the person in charge is going to come out and have a comment of, well, we didn't have someone up there because the slope was too much. Well, where the sniper was behind Trump, that had a whole lot more slope than the slope of the building the shooter was on.
Total lie. And then they also usually have drones. There were no drones. Right. Also, there's what's called thermal and one other thing that can identify the threat right away and all sorts of stuff. There's so many reasons why this seems to be either unbelievable, astounding incompetence, like putting a kid that eats finger paint in pre-kindergarten in charge of this or something. It makes no sense. Damon, this is your great call, my friend, and I'm grateful that you are new to the show, and I hope you keep calling in. I appreciate your contributions tonight.
I appreciate it. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. All right, let's next go to, let's see who we have. Okay, let's go to Peggy. What's up, WBAP? In Coppell.
Well, yeah, I think it's gross incompetence. I think it's amazing that we ever get anything all put together. I think it was way more than the local law enforcement could handle. I understand there were very few of them, and they thought they were only going to be doing traffic, and then at the last minute, they were called way beyond what they could handle.
Well, they were never in charge of security, and I want to say that again because the commissioner of that county said today, and the audio has been played on on Fox all day, and I think I have it, but if I don't, I'll pull it up for you. I'll find it. But he said we never were security. There was never a security agreement. It was never part of any agreement. We were there to direct traffic. There was no security. Anybody reporting that they're either lying or they don't know what they're talking about.
Right, and that makes sense. Why would they be given? Why would a
That's
local
not their job. It's not their job.
No,
there's only one entity in the country. It's Secret Service.
It'd be crazy.
Yeah.
So I think the head of the Secret Service needs to go. That's ridiculous. And I've also been hearing, and I don't know, you can comment on this, that Secret Service is never concerned about losing their job because they'll just get another job, and that they really aren't trained in the commitment that we would like to think that they are. But unfortunately, just like down in Uvalde, the level that people can be incompetent and still keep jobs absolutely amazes me.
Yes, and Joe Biden never fires anybody, and he's not said anything negative about her. He will not fire he didn't fire anybody in Afghanistan. He said it was a total success. So there you go.
Anyone can see it wasn't. Right. And then some of the people, like a Navy SEAL was talking about muscle memory and how the Secret Service would have to have done this over and over and over again so that muscle memory would kick in. And this is protecting Trump as he's walking off stage.
Yeah.
And he said clearly, they maybe do this once in their career, but they have to do it over and over and over again so that it automatically takes over. And, I love that Trump did the fist pump, but really we needed him protected.
Yes.
We need to not be seeing his face.
There was that, she's not a midget, but there was a midget woman to me that was a foot and a half shorter than Trump protecting him. And then did you see the other woman? And it's not because she's a woman, it's because she's incompetent. Did you see the other woman who could not holster her gun?
Yeah, she couldn't.
She doesn't know how to. She doesn't know. No. She doesn't know how to holster a gun.
Well,
she literally gave up and put the gun in her other hand. Yeah. She has no idea what she's doing.
No, it's just terrible incompetence. And I know the person, somebody said recently, in your show that it wasn't the fault of the person on top. But when something this gross negligence happens, I say the person on top goes.
No, it's a complete fault of the person on top. No one else.
I think so.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it doesn't. There's no. I don't know if anybody's ever said that on my show, I would totally chastise them and be incredibly disappointed in them. You can't do that. She's responsible. I have audio that's going to blow you away. I have audios of 2 U.S. senators confronting the head of the Secret Service, Cheadle, at the RNC just like moments ago, and I have audio of fake news CNN reporting supposedly that Joe Biden is now open to possibly being stepping down. This is all developing in real time. Plus, in 15 minutes, we're going to go to live to the J.D. Vance acceptance speech. Don't miss any of this. Red hot on a night that unlike any other before. Chris Crooks Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3.
and talking to a senior Democratic advisor tonight who is telling me this. He said he believes the president is being, quote, more receptive to these calls of concern. He goes on to say this: the private conversations with the Hill are continuing, this advisor tells me. He's being receptive, not as defiant as he is publicly. Goes on to saying, talking about Vice President Kamala Harris, who initially he wondered how she may fare in a campaign should it come to that. I'm told now he's asking questions, saying, do you think Kamala can win? Again, this advisor offers caution, saying this: it is still unclear where he's going to land, but he seems to be listening.
Okay, we'll pause it right there. That's fake news, CNN. All of this is available on my Twitter feed, and you... this is exactly... Hold on, I'm about to play this one in a second. You should be following me on my Twitter feed. Shame on you if you have not, honestly. I mean, what's wrong with you, right? At Chris Crooks. Also, by the way, you got to follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. At Chris Crooks Show. That's at Chris Crooks Show, ChrisKrok. The one I'm about to play for you, a separate one, is also on my Twitter feed. Now, look at this. This is the RNC tonight. This is Senator Marsha Blackburn, as well as one other. What's the other senator? I have it here. Hold on. It is Senator Blackburn and Senator Barrasso. They're confronting the Secret Service director, who's actually at the RNC tonight, Cheadle. And again, remember this Nurse Jill picked her because she liked how she protected Jiao. So here's the confrontation that just happened moments ago at the RNC tonight. This is also on my Twitter feed. By the way, I'll say this: tonight feels like a coronation. I just watched the last part of Kai Trump, Don Jr.'s daughter. Trump's granddaughter, Donald Trump's granddaughter. It was beautiful, and it just felt like a coronation afterwards. I swear to you. Now, we should never get complacent, but it sure feels good tonight. Here's that confrontation.
This is exactly what you were doing today.
This was an assassination attempt. You owe the people answers. You owe President Trump answers.
And then she walks away up the stairs with her handlers. That's our disgraced Secret Service head, appointed by Nurse Jill. We've got 3 lines open. The first time we've had this many open tonight. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. We're carrying Senator J.D. Vance in 10 minutes, his acceptance speech as the vice president nominee. Let's now go to, again, 800-288-WBAP. Why do you think the Secret Service allowed Trump's speech to go on? Do you think this was incompetence or a desire to let him die? Let's now go to Mike. Mike, you're in Grapevine. What's up, WBAP?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think that it was done on purpose, Chris. Too many things are coming together to look. There were people. There's a guy that was talking to a British reporter. He's been all over the news. He's sitting there telling the guy that he's seen a guy up on the roof, and the police just ignored him. Then they said they sent a police up to the top of the roof, and they said that the shooter pointed the gun at him, and the officer got the hell out of there and went back down, but he didn't notify nobody. But like I say, the biggest is...
Let me tell you about that officer real fast, because he did not cower away. He was standing on top of another officer's shoulders, and he had no way of taking both hands, putting up there to climb up, and then somehow pulling a gun out like Rambo by holding himself up with one hand, and then pulling his gun out with his other hand, and then pointing at the guy. He used his 2 hands to pull up while he was standing on his shoulders, and he confirmed in fact that this guy had a gun, and he pointed at him, and then he got down. He apparently had both hands holding himself up, so he couldn't possibly pull a firearm out and shoot the guy. He was looking, and then he saw the guy point at him, and then he got down. And apparently, so far we're hearing there was no comms between them and the Secret Service. And remember, the Secret Service should have done they were in charge. The police were not in charge of security in any way, shape, or form. I quoted the commissioner. I'll play him. We've got audio of him somewhere. I'll play it of him saying that today. He's very angry about reports.
I'm not gonna make no excuses, Chris.
Right.
You're playing around with people's lives. I don't care who's at fault.
Well, you know it's the Secret Service.
Came within inches of being killed.
Yes.
What'd you say?
Millimeters being killed. But it's the Secret Service there's no one else in charge of security but Secret Service.
I'm taking this serious because, see, this was a setup. This was a setup, Chris.
Right.
What happened is this young 20-year-old guy, they I don't know who got him involved in it, but you could tell it's other people involved because they said that he had explosives in his car that he could have pressed the button and blew up the car in the parking lot.
Yes.
There's no way a 20-year-old has that much knowledge to know how to set up a bomb. Now, here's how it goes, Chris. That guy that was on the roof, you can clearly see in the video, there is a sharpshooter, a Secret Service guy. He has his weapon pointed at this 20-year-old guy as he's laying on his stomach, and you can clearly see it. As soon as that guy fires his weapon, they wanted Donald Trump to get hit. As soon as he fired his weapon, they blew that guy's head off.
And actually,
20-year-old guy.
And actually,
it was going to take two people out at once, Chris.
Right.
You can't talk.
Let me say this though. You
can't talk. They will eliminate both of them at the same time.
That was not this team. The team that shot and killed the kid was the assassin was not on video. There's no pictures or video of the one that did. It wasn't the one we saw. We thought it is, but I learned that earlier today in one of the reports. It was another team.
You mean to tell me that the guy that we seen on the roof, the sharpshooter, he looks inside of his scope and then immediately fires?
Yeah.
That's not the bullet that killed this 20-year-old guy.
That's what the report I read today said. It said there are no pictures of the one that did it. I'm just telling you what I heard. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I have to see more evidence. But
Absolutely.
Anyway, let me just say this. Let me say this right quick. If I hang out with you, Chris. Either way it goes, the Secret Service lady that's in charge of it, she needs to be dismissed. She needs to be dismissed because Donald Trump could be dead, and this is the future of America right now, Chris. If Donald Trump goes down, America goes down.
I agree.
So I'm taking this real serious.
I agree, and I am too.
That woman needs to go because I'm very scared for Donald Trump's life, and I thank you for taking my call.
Amen. Thank you, brother. Joe in Grapevine, welcome to WBAP. Thanks.
Chris, you just touched on something that Dan Bongino said today. And this comes from him. He only mentioned it one time. This comes from inside people he knows.
Yeah.
And I'm sure if you hear it or anybody can replay his show, I think it was the second hour.
I have a soundbite of it somewhere too, so go ahead. Real fast.
Okay. There was a second team, just like you said. It was not the slope.
Right.
But when this all comes out, that second team either was on a second floor of something, but again, the line of sight, and I said this when it first came out,
was blocked by the tree.
It should have been blocked with something.
Yes.
They could have put anything there. And second, Chris, you're right, he had explosive. He ordered it through the mail. Now, how was there not a red flag that went up against this man, and he orders it? And just like you said, I believe this from the start. How do we know that this was not deliberately done to where you had less agents? You even maybe had a secret meeting with this individual.
I got to roll. So
you know what I'm saying?
Yes. I appreciate your call and I appreciate your passion. You're spot on, brother, okay?
You're the best. Love you, buddy.
Thank you. Bye. Love you too, man. Hey, I lost almost. We're going to get the speech coming up in the next segment. It should pop on, depending on what their time frame is at the RNC. JD Vance. That's coming up next. Chris Crooks Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3.
A senior Secret Service source familiar with the planning of yesterday's event tells NBC News that the roof where the shooter was located was a well-known, high-priority vulnerability. It was identified just the day before during a security walkthrough.
Remember the then when you look at the now, because the difference is striking. This is how our CNN political unit, led by David Chalian, projects the race right now. And right now, deep red, solid Republican. Light red, lean Republican. If this map played out, the election were today and the map played out like this, even if the toss-ups went blue, Donald Trump would win the election.
Okay, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. We are, should be a few minutes or less away from J.D. Vance giving his speech, acceptance speech as vice president. I will tell you that his wife, who is an Indian American, Usha, is Usha. I'm going to have trouble pronouncing this. Usha Chilukuri Vance, the wife of Senator J.D. Vance, is going to introduce him with about a 3 to 4 minute speech. Donald Trump Jr., I should say, just finished his speech a moment ago. So look for Usha to give her speech in 1 to 5 minutes. I don't know how long they're going to take a break. Commentators are talking right now while they're showing different segments of the people talking, like President Trump is talking right now to somebody on the floor, where his seat is. This is quite unbelievable what we're seeing today. You just heard the bad polls with CNN. Oh, Joe Biden. Joe Biden is, supposedly has COVID and was sent home. All right. Well, was it really COVID? Was it really COVID? Is this going to be his excuse to get out of the election? We're going to be exploring that coming up in a little bit. In fact, let me play some of that audio for you. Here we go.
It's just on the phone with President Biden.
By the way, this is Las Vegas. This is the union group, I believe it is, that Biden was going to speak at. And she takes the stage and says this.
I was just on the phone with President Biden, and he shared his deep disappointment at not being able to join us this afternoon. The president has been at many events, as we all know, and he just tested positive for COVID.
So people are speculating that this is his reason to withdraw. Oh, I have COVID, I'm sick. This is his time to withdraw. This is the medical issue I mentioned. I saw him get off the plane at Dover Air Force Base moments ago, live, and he certainly looks old and frail as always. We're past his sundown time. Remember that? Sundowning is what people with dementia and Alzheimer's have, where after a certain time, you're angry, you're mean. The only thing that can pacify you is medication and ice cream. And I'm not making that up, by the way. Don't laugh. Because if you look at the Alzheimer's Association, I've tweeted out in their newsletter, they sent that out and said, ice cream, you can never have enough of it in your house. And it's a perfect tool to alleviate or ameliorate the anger and the stress that the sundowner is having. All right. Now, there's an introduction on the screen of J.D. Vance. They're playing the, intro video from the RNC right now of J.D. Vance and his life. His wife will be introducing him in a speech that's approximately 3 minutes. So I look to having him on in about 4 minutes. What a powerful introduction just in pictures I'm watching in his Marine uniform, and he did see combat in his 4 years of service. And the amazing thing is this young man grew up dirt freaking poor in Appalachia, apparently, the poorest of the entire country. And it's white America there that, it's white Americans that are the poorest in many of the statistics in this country, believe it or not. It's just a fact. And that just goes to show that the myth of this and that, of issues in our country. And he grew up there, and his mom was a drug addict, and so his Mima, I think is what he called her, or something of that nature. His grandma raised him. And you saw Glenn Close portray his grandmother as the woman who raised him and the woman who challenged him and made him the man that he is today. And that's powerful. That's really powerful. I get goosebumps talking about it. I mean, who has not seen Hillbilly Elegy? Hillbilly Elegy. It's hard to. I always have trouble pronouncing that. Or haven't read the book. So he did that. He also went to, was it Yale Law School or Harvard? That's insane to be dirt poor and to do that. And then you recall in the movie Hillbilly Elegy, people like him were ridiculed, and he said at a dinner table, and he said, "That's who I am. I'm one of them." And they're like, "What? His wife's being introduced, so we'll be hearing from J.D. Vance in about 3 minutes. We will carry that in its entirety, so you will not miss any of it. We will pause it during the breaks, so you'll get the whole speech tonight. We're going to react to it, okay? There's his wife, an Indian American. She is the child of Indian immigrants. And she is speaking right now. And she also is, I can't remember if this is Yale or Harvard where he went to school, law school, but he was a venture capitalist, by the way. And he is part of the reason why I read today in the Wall Street Journal, Elon Musk, as you know, in the hours after the attempted assassination of Trump, said, "I'm officially endorsing Trump," which is amazing. He's the richest man in the world. He also said today that he's moving SpaceX and Twitter, to officially from California here. And he said the reason why he ended up deciding to finally do it was the law, they said, where we, the state of California, will have control over your child. If your child says they're trans, we will hide that from you, the parent. You will never know your kid's a transgender young man or woman, because we will work with the teachers and we can hide it from you. The state can hide it from you if you don't bless it. So he said that's the last straw, that law. He tweeted it tonight. I retweeted it. Follow me on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram at Chris Crock Show. That's at Chris Crock Show.